Hey cats, EDDBUD here. I've got another dose of running related news for you.
Calling flight running news, apart to depart at gate 12.
Loads on this week. We're looking at the London Marathon, which had some blisteringly fast times. There's some new shoe releases, of course. Plus some new under 20 records that were set at the latest Adidas event. Lots to get through, so let's get there. Thanks for tuning in, people. It is always appreciated. We're getting very close now to 40,000 subs. If you haven't subscribed yet and you are watching, please do so. And also hit that bell for notifications of when the new videos are launched. Give this video a thumbs up, like, and share it with your running buddies. You know it makes sense. Okay, story number 1 today. Kelvin Kiptum. What a runner. Absolutely destroyed the opposition at the latest London Marathon. New course record obliterating the GOAT Kipchoge's existing time. He finished in just 2 hours, 1 minute and 25 seconds. Really was something there. He just turned up the pace in the second half of the race. A negative split there. He missed like a water bottle and then he just sort of went, you know, I'll show these guys what I can do. And he just got quicker and quicker as the race went on. I mean, it's just nuts. I think there was about 48,000 people took to the streets of London for the 2023 iteration of this event. I think it's good that they've moved it back to April now. That feels right for the London Marathon. I can remember like being a little kid and like watching the London Marathon. Well, it was always something we did every single year when I was small. So if I'm not mistaken, Kiptum now has got the 2nd and 3rd best marathon times ever. I think he ran the December Valencia Marathon and that was like 2 hours, 1 minute 53. So he's wiped off a few more seconds there and got a little bit closer to the world record. Perhaps if he didn't follow the bike towards the end there of the London Marathon, he would have cut it off by a few more seconds too. He just moved away from the blue race line a little bit there. You know, the finish was just amazing. I'd assume that we will see him in Berlin for a bit of a world record marathon attempt. I wonder if Kipchoge will get over for that one as well. Could make for an incredible race. It was great to see a really strong performance though from the British runners. Superb stuff from Emil Kerr and Mo Farah, Phil Seseman and the legendary Chris Thompson as well. Love that guy. Sifan Hassan was the champion in the women's event. This her debut at the distance and spectacular results as well. Even looked like she was in some real difficulty at one point, but she managed to sort of stay consistent with her effort where a lot of the people in front of her started to slow down. She caught up with that leading pack eventually and then there was a superb sprint finish to gain the crown. Wonderful scenes there on the last home straight. Well done, Sifan. Story 2. Puma recently launched a special set of their running shoe line to mark 75 years within sports and culture. So their company started back in 1948 and of course has been at the forefront of technology since then. I always remember in the early 90s, my friend Crazy Horse, his name's Tim, but we always used to call him Crazy Horse. It's a long story, that one. He got a pair of the Puma discs and that was like the coolest thing, man. I always wanted a pair of Reebok pumps as well. Maybe I should have to get myself a pair of those just to relive, you know, the nostalgia. I really love the iconic look as well of the Puma King football boots. I do believe that they originally used WR100 leather that was produced like a few meters down the road. I think it was Pittard's thing. I may be mistaken on that one, but I'm sure WR100 leather was what was used on the Puma King. If anybody can confirm that, please do in the comments. There's a whole glut there of special anniversary editions of their recent running shoes. The Puma Fast R Nitro Elite through to the Puma Liberate Nitro 2 and the Fast Forward Nitro as well. There's some sail, pale green and black on each version, which all look rather fetching and give this collection a somewhat more retro look without the fire glow or the fizzy lime and royal sapphire stuff we've had recently. I think it's often forgotten about the rich heritage of the Puma brand. Nike and Adidas just able to often put out so much advertising and promotion. People forget about Puma as a brand a little bit, but they've been in the game a long time as well. What is your favourite of the Run 75 variations? I think for me it's probably the Fast R Nitro Elite. That is an absolute banger. Story 3. I did spot an oddity here. I was considering putting it into a Shoe Files episode, but it's quite a small, weird sort of thing that I wanted to tell you about. We're talking the SAUCONY ENDORPHIN Pro 3 recently. Now, you'll remember that that's got like an almost fishing net style upper. There's loads of holes all over it, but they do appear to have changed it up with just one colourway of the shoe. It's a completely different upper. Perhaps a little less breathable. There's like this all over mesh type design here rather than the previous net version. The colourway is entitled the Invader. I think it surfaced about a month or so back now. Standard price of the ENDORPHIN Pro 3. It might make for a slightly more containing upper perhaps for colder climates. If anyone's tried this version out of the shoe, can you please let me know in the comments? I really want to know if there's much difference. I want to know how this came about. You know, why is there this completely different upper on their top line race shoe? You never see that. Very rare for Saucony or another brand for that matter to create a new upper, especially this far into the shoe's life cycle. I imagine they're working on like the V4, the V5. Just seems weird that they've gone back, you know, to revisit this one. I think the ENDORPHIN Pro 3 is still up there in terms of the top super shoes. It's coming in quite a bit cheaper as well now than some of the others. Although, of course, you do have the ENDORPHIN Elite as well now, which is very expensive. Only one notable shoe release at the moment, which is a really big one. I mean, in terms of the price and also the actual size of the shoe. Perhaps if you haven't picked up the PRIMEX yet, this might be a great time to do so. I think this new colorway is absolutely fire. If I didn't have the PRIMEX strung, I would go for it. I love the little blue hues there in the strung upper in the rear section of the shoe. I don't have any need for another pair of the PRIMEX strung right now. Just too expensive. My current pair have got loads of miles left in them as well. If you want to pick this one up, it is available now, at least here in the UK, on the Adidas website for 230 Earth credits. I mean, the shoe is bound to bring a smile as long as you can stay upright and not like one of those badly manufactured toy dinosaurs. Last story today, I'm looking at the Adidas Adizero Road to Records 2023 event. Over the weekend in Germany, we had the latest Adidas Road Record event. This features 5k, 10k and half marathon events for both men and women. They sort of pack it all into about 6 hours on a live stream. It's quite fantastic. Not a single PRIMEX at this one though. Perhaps too many turns on the German course to warrant the use of that one. I am kidding, by the way. Some really top level athletes here, really going for some good times. Though I did notice actually the weather conditions were a little bit blustery, so I think that's perhaps what slowed people down this year. There was a whole sea of the Takumi Sen 9 and the Adios Pro 3s on today's event. Some very close finishes on these events, especially the men's 5k this time round. Though I think the ladies stole the show a little bit here. We had two new under 20 record times over the 5k and 10k. New under 20s record for Medina Isa in the 5k with a time of 14:46, and then another under 20s record for Siniet Getachow with their time of 30:34. Some amazing potential there in those young female athletes. I bet they'll further improve their times over those distances in the coming years. I was amazed though by the men's 5k event and also the women's 10k finishes. There are people passing right on the very end there of the race. I think it's perhaps the worst and easiest moment to take your foot off the gas when you think you've got it. You know, your body's really hurting, telling you to stop. There was a couple of people just nipped in ahead. There were some times there that are exactly the same second at least. Very interesting to see these top level times achieved in the Takumi Sen 9, the lighter cousin to the Adios Pro 3. Perhaps the athletes preferring the much lighter Sen over the Adios Pro. Now that Takumi Sen 9 popped up again in the London Marathon earlier last week. It was on the feet of Emil Kerr, the superb British runner. He was actually 6th placed. Fantastic. I guess if a shoe works for you, who cares what it's actually intended for? It's like for the half marathon, a 5k or even a trail run. If it feels good and it gets the best out of the runner, then why not? I think the Sen has always worked pretty well for me. Does make me think whether I should pick up a pair of the Sen 9. Just looks so close to the previous one. I think that's what's stopping me from spending the money. Last little tidbit up here. If you're in Bristol for the Great Bristol Run in a couple of weeks' time, I'll see you there. I believe it's the 14th of May. I will be running that one. I have run it before. I reckon I'm a bit stronger than I was last time at the 10th mile, and that's where I slowed a little bit. Still my fastest half marathon time of about 1 hour 31, so I want to try and dip under that little bit. If I can keep things consistent, not go out too fast, then maybe I can even get under 1:30. We shall see. If you are attending the Great Bristol Half on May the 14th, let me know down in the comments. That's all the running news for this time. Quick musical interlude for you. Today I was out in the Hoka Rocket X2 doing some speed stuff, mile on, then half a mile of recovery, all aiming for that sort of half marathon pace. It was pretty hard work out there as well. Quite humid really. Ended up sort of looking like I've been messing around in a swimming pool rather than running, but music always gets the best out of me on a speed session, so today I brought out the big guns, the AC/DC. If you want blood, you've got it, and also riff raff as well. That's sort of a bit wild and uncouth, that one. Not sure what it is, that music just seems to get the adrenaline flowing a little bit. I struggle sometimes doing those sessions, you know, when it doesn't really matter. In a race, you know, it matters and you can do it, but when you're trying to get there in training on a Sunday, when you're really sort of relaxed and chilled out, it's kind of hard. You need some sort of motivator, and Angus Young and his buddies seem to be able to do that for me. Is that the case for you guys? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. It's very much appreciated. Hit that sub button and the bell. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up like though. That seems to be the big sort of thing that helps out. My name's EDDBUD and I'll be seeing you